AITA for asking my wife to spend all her savings. Story 1. I'm a 34-year-old M married to the love of my life, a 33-year-old F. My wife is kind, nurturing, and motivated in her career. She does a lot for me at home since I work long hours. We married 4 months ago. Dated for 8 years. We're both easygoing and have the same sense of humor and rarely argue. I make 4x more money. I'm in healthcare, but she makes a good salary as well. Since I make 4x what she does, I tend to pay for most things: dinners, weekend trips, mall shopping, which I absolutely do not mind. With bigger purchases, we pay for things together in proportion to what we make. She's usually okay with paying her share of things, 1/4 of the rent and groceries, and will sometimes offer to pay for dinners and dates. She's very close with her best friends. She has 4. They're great people, but they're basically attached to the hip and talk daily in a group chat, which is fine. Everyone needs a support system. I have similar friends. Her and her 4 friends have a combined savings account together for investing in something together. They've each been putting in a few $100s per month each. I've known about this for years and didn't love the idea initially, which I expressed. But she was adamant she wanted this, and at the time we weren't hurting for the money, and it was ultimately her money and her decision. We are now looking to buy a home in one of the most expensive real estate markets in the US. She expresses that she doesn't have much in her own savings, but has $20,000 of her own money tied in with her friends' combined savings. Over the last year, they've been told by 2 financial advisors that 5 people attempting to invest together in real estate or stocks or a business wasn't a great idea. And they also recommended to split the funds to 5 separate accounts, since the account is under one of the friends' names and there are tax implications for having that amount of money to her name, $100,000. The homes we're looking at need around $60,000-$70,000 for a down payment. I stated I was willing to spend nearly all my savings for the down payment for a home, $50,000. So I told her she should pull that money from her joint friends account to help with the down payment. It's a huge purchase and I don't think it should be my burden alone. She got really upset and told me I don't want to touch that money. I promised my friends it would be for investing together. We should look for a less expensive home then, maybe a fixer-upper. She then stated, it would be easier for you to accrue the money back since you make so much more. This was very frustrating and I told her, it's unfair. I have to spend nearly all my savings and you don't. Your friend fund is stupid, and it's stupid not to use that money for our future home. AITA for asking her to use her own cash from her friend's account. Break that promise to her friends so we can buy a nice home together? First comment. Wait, so she and her friends have a shared savings account that they've been adding to together with the intent of eventually investing in, as in the money is currently just sitting there in one person's account? NTA, that is absolutely ridiculous. I could see the value in having a shared bank account between close friends for the purpose of going on trips and vacations together, since you could just pull money for deposits instead of playing the Venmo game, but this is ridiculous and makes it seem like she cares more about planning for her future with her friends than with her own husband. Yikes. Also, maybe I just live somewhere really expensive, but I'm shocked that $60,000-$70,000 isn't already the minimum down payment possible on a fixer-upper. Second comment. She pretty much doesn't has her own savings, but has $20,000 in an account that it's not even on her name? I don't care how good friends they are, but this is super dangerous. I understand having an account with friends for trips or other activities, but for investing? Why? Makes no sense. Even worse, this money is sitting there without any investments or plans. Honestly, I would not buy a house with her until she put the same effort, not the same money, but the same willing and work in this. You want to use all your savings in a house for both of you, while she doesn't want to contribute. It's not like she doesn't have the money. She does. Her priorities are her friends and this so-called investment account, rather than you and your life together. She showed you her priorities. It's up to you to listen to her. NTA. Third comment. NTA. She is a walking red flag, and if the genders were reversed, everyone you know would be telling you to run. She has her money under an account with only her friend's name on it. That's super dangerous, not to use words that would ban me. She is willing to invest all her money with her friends, but not in a home with her husband and potentially father of her children. She expects you to empty your savings for a home for both of you while she put in nothing. You need therapy and a financial advisor. Depending on how that goes, you may need a divorce lawyer. Story 2. AITA for calling out my bill for staring at my chest. And my daughter's chest? My bill, let's call him Dan, Visits my husband, his brother, and me, now and then about every 2 to 3 months. Every time we see him, Dan talks to me while staring at my chest. I'm mid-50s, decent looking but nothing to stare at. On the rare occasion my daughter joins us for the family visit, Dan stares at her chest too. She is 23. Last time he visited our home, I made a motion with my fingers from my chest up to my eyes. Your basic "my eyes are up here" gesture. He did not acknowledge this and kept staring. I grabbed a sofa cushion and hugged it against my chest for the remainder of the evening. For reference, I was not exposing my décolletage in any way and was wearing a hoodie. I expressed my offense and frustration to my husband. Let's call him Jerry. Jerry was upset and did not realize this was going on repeatedly and said he would have words with Dan. Dan has heart issues in his mid-60s, so it's difficult to find a time to talk about sensitive subjects as we are all afraid to upset him. Finally, Jerry, my husband, called his brother and told him how upset he was and how disrespectful it was towards me that he would stare at my chest. Dan blew up at my husband and denied it. Called me a liar, and how could I say this happened? I told Jerry to take control of your wife and household and be a man and don't allow this to happen, etc. Jerry hung up on him. 2 weeks later, Dan calls Jerry again to ream him out for not being a man and to tell him again that I'm a liar. Dan proceeds to tell their sister his side of the situation. Let's call her Debbie. She then takes Dan's side. Debbie called Jerry, telling him what a liar I am and how I'm trying to drive a wedge in the family. We are all in our 50s and 60s. Isn't this immature? For background, Dan has a history of disrespecting women openly and blatantly. My husband has mentioned this many times, and it is also quite obvious by his attitude in conversation. My sil Debbie won't speak to me or respond to my text or email messages. We used to have a nice friendship. We are the only relatives close by enough to respond if Dan has another medical event. He has alienated many other friends and neighbors. Am I the asshole for having called out Dan for disrespecting me and my daughter? He has alienated me and my kids and Jerry. I could have honestly guessed he would do this, but I was just so fed up with him doing this to us in my own home. First comment, NTA, and just stand firm. Of course he's acting like the victim. It's standard deflection. They can take sides all they want. You need your husband to make the following very clear. My wife is not a liar and I have noticed this behavior myself. I have seen it with my own eyes, so anyone calling my wife a liar is also calling me one. I am not going to tolerate that disrespect against my wife or my daughter in our own home. All I asked was for him to stop and show more respect for my family. If that's too much to ask, he can stay away. As can anyone else who wants to try and defend his behavior can also stay away. They are turning this into a battle against you because you're an easy target for them. She's trying to tear our family apart. Your husband needs to shut that crap down now and make it clear that it is true. It's his decision to not tolerate that behavior from his family, and calling you a liar is just proving his point that they are disrespectful. You need to stand back on this. Second comment, NTA. Health issues of the kind you describe don't explain or excuse him being a creep. If he has nothing more to do with you, then it's no loss to you or your daughter. As for Sil, well, she seems to have chosen her side, so I'd write her off too. If they crawl back, then maybe give them a chance to redeem themselves, but WTF? Why should you tolerate that crap? Third comment, NTA. At first I was undecided and wondered if that might just be where he looks when talking to people to avoid eye contact if he's not comfortable looking in people's eyes. However, his response to your husband to take control of your wife and household is completely uncalled for. This guy's an asshole and someone you should cut contact with if possible. With him being your husband's brother though, I'm not sure what their relationship is like and if it's something your husband would accept. Personally, I wouldn't care if someone was related to me or not. If they act like that, I remove them from my life. Story 3. AITA for refusing to be my sister's maid of honor after what she did at my wedding? Not the a-hole. My sister 30F and I 28F have always had a rocky relationship. When I got married 2 years ago, I asked her to be my maid of honor. I thought it could bring us closer. However, she made the whole process a nightmare, complaining about the dress, skipping out on planning, and even showing up late on the wedding day. The worst part. During her speech, she made a joke about how she was surprised I found someone who could put up with me. It was humiliating, and I was on the verge of tears in front of everyone. Now, she's getting married and just asked me to be her maid of honor. I said no. I told her I couldn't do it after what happened in my wedding. She blew up at me, saying I'm being petty and holding a grudge. My parents think I should just let it go for the sake of family peace, but I can't help feeling hurt. AITA? First comment. MTA. You don't want to do it, don't do it. As for your parents, Mom, Dad, so what you're saying is that my feelings mean nothing, and Sis's feelings mean everything. What family peace? I'm not going to be at peace. Sis has never apologized. You don't seem to think her making my wedding miserable was a big deal. So yes, if that's being petty, then I'm being petty. I won't be her Mo. I won't be in her wedding. I may not even attend. Based on how she acted before and at my wedding, she's going to be a PETA with hers. I'm not putting myself through that. I'm going to give myself peace. Subject closed. Second comment. TA. And you are letting it go and taking a high road. If you were truly petty, you could agree and then do the same to her that she did to you. Tell that to your parents. Then tell them that for the sake of family peace your sister needs to let it go and find another maid of honor. Third comment. If I were you, accept the moat role and say the exact speech she made at your wedding. Kudos.